You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. And, of course, the chase for the MVP this year. Some of the MVP is always tied into how well the team does. And we know the Indiana Fever have some questions in regards to personnel. By the way, all teams do now. All right, now that new CBA has come out, it is going to be considerably harder for there to be a quote-unquote big three. Now, Indiana may be able to figure it out this year, maybe. But again, they didn't expect Aaliyah Boston to get a gargantuan raise in the new CBA, and Caitlin Clark got a bigger than expected raise because of this epic clause. We'll get to that in a minute. But it does tie in to a point to her being a co-favorite for the WNBA 2026 MVP. Now, of course, I believe she finished fourth in her rookie year in the MVP voting. I thought you could have made a case to have actually named her the MVP. And then last year, riddled with injuries, right? But it's been released now, as you can see in that headline. We've got the first co-favorites, or the first listings for MVP favorites by way of FanDuel. All right. And some of this has got to do with the fact that, of course, Caitlin Clark won the MVP for Team USA coming out of the FIBA World Cup qualifiers in Puerto Rico. So here we are, J-Mac. It's a pretty good follow, to be honest with you. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson are tied. Of course, A'ja Wilson's tied. Of course, A'ja Wilson will be there all year long, along with Naphecia Collier, for one reason only. Insert WNBA media here. They're going to keep those two in the conversation come hell or high water. The favorite for best betting odds to win the WNBA MVP for 2026 via FanDuel, Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson are tied at plus 240. Naphecia Collier, plus 410. Breanna Stewart, plus 1,000. Alyssa Thomas, plus 1,000. Okay, sure. And I got to be honest with you. The problem Caitlin's going to have always is getting past that old guard WNBA media. That's always going to be a problem. All right. We all know why. I mean, I hate to say it, but let's be real. She doesn't check them boxes. She doesn't fulfill that agenda that the WNBA's always had. So here we are. She's always going to have to get over that and fight that. So it's going to be an uphill battle to win this MVP for Caitlin Clark. It shouldn't be in a just world, but, well, come on. Everybody's lost their minds. Guys, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Let's go over, because this is in part tied to this, right? The Indiana Fever. Can they win a WNBA title this year? Can they be competitive for a title? Caitlin Clark is a transcendent player. Aaliyah Boston, one of the best bigs in the league. However, to get to that level, they need to make good decisions this spring. Is Kelsey Mitchell worth a supermax? Should they go in a different direction and poach an all-star from another team? And if so, what kind of a player should they aim for? Should they pursue a wing or a forward? Perhaps another big next to Boston? I'm just going to throw this out. Can you imagine Caitlin Clark feeding the rock to Aaliyah Boston and Jonquel Jones? Woo! I mean, she might average 15 assists a game. Literally, she might average 15 assists a game. Who will they protect from the expansion draft? That is such an interesting question. I cannot wait to find out who is protected. If I remember correctly from the last one, we didn't know. They didn't release. We didn't know. You go into that draft not knowing who's protected. The fans, I mean. So we didn't find out till Timmy Fabinley was gone. Oh, crap. She's the person one of the players that they didn't protect. And because there was some worry going into that expansion draft that maybe Lexi hadn't been protected and all that. So Toronto and Portland will undoubtedly look to see who they can acquire from Indiana. It goes on to talk about all three teams they talked about here. The Sparks are brought up. I got to tell you, Cameron Brent is going to be healthy. That Sparks team, if they stay healthy, they're going to be good. That's going to be an added team that the Fever are going to have to deal with. The opportunity is for all three to improve their situation, but they got to make it also, but they can also make the wrong moves and take a step back. Yeah, we don't know how this is going to look. You know, that's these teams are going to look vastly different from last year. Now, there is a thought process with Kelsey that they could give her a multi-year deal and maybe she would take less money in order for that to happen. Okay, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible. But again, okay, so she doesn't take 1.4, she takes 1.1. Let's say she knocks off 300,000. Well, you just got yourself a league minimum player out of that. A league minimum player. Okay, would you rather have that? Or would you rather split it in half at 600,000 and have at least two solid key contributors out of that? That's how you, and that's if she's willing to take like 1.1. If it's 1.4, then you slice that in half. That's 700,000 times 2. So you're actually running into two good, quote, good player territory. So, and all that, by the way, is going to influence Caitlin Clark and this team, her being able to win the MVP. The other thing that she's going to have to contend with is Stephanie White's style of ball. One could argue, as long as White's the coach, she'll never win MVP because White will never give her the opportunity to truly shine as a dynamic playmaker. I know Stephanie White fans don't want to hear that. Oh my God, look at last season. Okay, I mean, go ahead and look at it. That's fine. One could just say Kelsey Mitchell also played bananas and Stephanie White was able to suck off that teat a little bit. I did say teat there. Look it up in the dictionary in order to ride that into an improbable finals run. You know? By the way, I will point out, Kelsey had an unbelievable year, but a lot of players can have a one-off berserk outlier year. Just bringing that up because, again, her stats would not have looked like that if Caitlin would have been healthy. That's something to remember. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.